Hi guys, so this is the first workshop in our YouTube channel. In this workshop, we are going to discuss how to create the Spring Boot CRUD operations with the help of the ChatGPT. Before going to the ChatGPT, first of all, we need to understand what is our requirement. So this is one of the small project. Okay, this is the description. So the main intention of this project is we need to provide a way to organization to create the employees to create the employee so employee registration and get the employee information and update the employee's information and delete the employee records. So these are the use cases we need to provide in this application. Okay, now we understand. So our main intention of this thing is we are going to create one employee registration system. On the employee registration system, we are going to provide the four use cases. First use case is we are going to provide employee registration facility, and second use case we are going to show the whatever the registered employee information. At the same time, we are going to show the employee information based on the user preference. That means maybe the user will give the mobile number or name based on the user inputs. We are going to show the respective employee information. Third use case is update the employee information. Means in some cases there is a situation to update the employee information. That time we are going to use this situation and delete the employee records. Now, what are the technologies we are going to use to create this one? So we are going to use the framework Spring Boot, and for interaction of the DB, we are going to use Spring Data JPA. We have the Hibernate and Spring Data JPA, right? So in my case, I'm going to prefer the Spring Data JPA to interact to the database. On database, here I mentioned the H2 database, but it is our preference. If you want, you can use whatever the database. If you want, the way of interaction, everything will be same. Only the drivers and the mostly the drivers will be different. So everything will be similar. Okay. Next, Maven or Gradle. So once you are creating the Spring Boot application, the application it is going to create in two cases. Maybe the application is a Maven project or the Gradle project. In our case, we are going to use the Gradle project. So now we are clear about the project, right? So once you clear about the project, now we are talking about the employee details, right? So what are the details we are going to store now? So we are going to capture the details of the employee: name, email, phone number, position, department. So this is enough for our project, right? Use we are going to create this application with the help of the ChatGPT. Okay. Okay, so the main first bef before going to the chat GPT, definitely we need to understand the requirement. Once you understand the requirement, then only you can play with the chat GPT, or else you cannot do anything with the chat GPT. Okay, so now we are clear about the requirement. Now, first of all, before this is the first step, we need to create one Spring Boot application. Now I create the Spring Boot application with the help of the employee registration system. Okay, this is my Spring Boot application. This is the main class. Now I'm going to run this application. So if you are new to Spring Boot, then please watch my Spring Boot videos in my YouTube page. So there you will find the how to create the Spring Boot application with the help of the Eclipse. You can find that video. You can see that one. Okay, you will get an idea about how to create the Spring Boot application by using the Eclipse. So now application is started running. So this is a Spring logo by default logo. If you want, we can change this logo also. Okay, now application is running. Yes, application is running, right? Yeah, it is running on the 8080 port. So I added some of the default dependencies. Now I'm going to remove those. Okay, we'll start from the scratch. Once you created the Spring Boot project, you will get the this starter only. So Spring Boot starter. Okay, based on our requirement, we are going to add the respective dependencies. So each and everything we are going to discuss in this video. Okay, I'm going to refresh this project now. Okay, so now I'm getting some of the errors in this class. Okay, as of now we don't know what is the use of this class file, so that's why I'm going to comment this one. So later we'll discuss about this class, why we are using this class and what is the purpose. I'm going to run this project once again. Sorry. So test, I mean this test dependency is also we are not using. So I didn't add this test dependencies. That's why we are able to see that errors. Okay, this is not required. If you are writing any JUnit test cases, then only we are going to use this one. So you can see the application is started. This is a Spring logo. Then starting employee registration system application using Java 1.8 and started time. It took around 2.32 milliseconds to run the application. Okay. So now we have requirement, right? By using this requirement we need to create the Spring Boot CRUD operations. So that is our expectation, right? Now we need to write the code for this APIs. So this is the data we supposed to be used to store in the database. Okay, now whatever the requirement you have, just frame in a sentence, then after copy the sentence and paste in ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT give me the full complete code of this requirement in Spring Boot. If you ask this like this, it will give the complete code to you. What we have to do, we just need to copy and paste. That's it only. Everything will be created by the Spring Boot. I mean ChatGPT. We only need to do, the thing is we need to understand the code and take that code and paste in your project. Okay, will come one by one. So as per our requirement, I frame my entire requirement in a line. Then after I am asking to the ChatGPT, give me the complete code of the for the complete code of this requirement in Spring Boot. Okay, then what it's saying? So here is the complete example of the simple employee registration using Spring Boot. This is okay. It is going to create the complete. What is the setup? So even it's saying how to create the Spring Boot project also. But we created our Spring Boot project. Then step one is completed. The next we need to create the model. What is the meaning of the model? Model is nothing but, so now if you are storing the data in the database means, so the data is going to store in the database in the form of the table. In application level, model is the representation of the table. Okay, now I am going to create one package. We need to understand where we need to use this code and how to use this code. Okay, ChatGPT will give everything, but we need to understand how to utilize this code. Okay, ChatGPT only do the thing is it will write the code. Okay, it won't execute it. We need to use the ChatGPT to get the code. Then we should be in a position to utilize that code based on our requirement. Okay, so now I have one package, right? This is my base package. Then after I'm going to create one more package for entities. Entities are model. Okay, I created one more package. So let's see, this is the base package. Base package is starting from the com employee registration. So then sub package com employee, we have definitely the sub package should be followed with the base package. Okay, or else you will get a problem. Com, so this is a com ex, this is not com example. So we need to use our package. So activity is giving the different package name, but our package name we supposed to be used. Okay, our package, our base package is, before that we need to keep our base package com employee registration dot model. So if you didn't follow the order, I mean structure of the package names, your program won't work properly. Why? Because we have the some of the rules in the package creation. So due to this component scan, in Spring Boot we have the component scan. Component scan has a one specific rule. Based on that rule, based on that rule only, it will be work. Okay. Now my base package is com employee registration, and my sub package is com employee registration dot model. I created this one. Then after, this is my I'm going to create the entity. Entity means this is the representation of the table. Okay, now create new class, paste employee. Okay, once it is created, go to the ChatGPT, copy this code. So this package, you just ignore this package, and from the imports you can copy. I copied the entity information, complete entity information, expect the package. Okay, now I copied. But if you see, we are able to see some of the errors. Why? Because we didn't add the database related dependencies dependence in our application. Okay, what we have the only Spring Boot starter, but now we need to add the, in the video starting we discussed we are going to use the Spring Data JPA for database interaction, right? So now we need to add the database related dependencies. I'm going to add the database related dependency. It will, if you go to the below of this ChatGPT code, you will find the Gradle. Maybe I didn't find the Gradle. Then ask, give me the dependencies for this. Okay, we are asking the dependencies. It is giving the pom.xml file at the same time Gradle. So what we are using? We are using the Gradle. Then add these dependencies to your application. Then I added the dependencies. We are not using the H2 database. Okay, we are going to use the PostgreSQL. Okay, for now, uh, let's focus on these dependencies on Spring Boot starter, web, data JPA. So web, we are going to expose the endpoints. That's why we added this one. Data JPA, we are going to interact with the database. That's why we are using the data JPA. Now, once you added the dependencies, just refresh this project. Okay, after refreshing, then see. So this is the package JavaX persistence existing on the Spring Data JPA dependencies. By using the Spring Data JPA, you will get the respective dependencies of the respective dependencies which are required to interact with the database. Okay, so let's have a look on this employee. So it's created one employee entity. Okay, it is going to contain the ID, it is a primary key, name, email, mobile number, position, and department. So the respective setters and getters. Now entity preparation is completed. Entity. So this is, so now once you created the class, this class we need to make as a entity. So to make the class as a representation of the entity, I mean make the class as an entity, we are going to annotate with the @entity annotation. So this is a representation of the table in the database. Now entity is ready. Next, what we have to create it. So second step, in the step 2 code completion. First one, model is created. Then after creating the model, then we need to create the repository for that. This is the table. So if we want to perform any operation in this table, we need to have the repository. By using the repository, we are going to perform the operations like getting, I mean, if you want to pull the data or if you want to save the data, definitely you require the repository for this table. Okay, I'm going to create one more package. So what is the package name I'm going to give? I'm going to give the package name as a register. Okay, then go to the ChatGPT. Here we have the employee registry. Employee registry. Then copy the code X from here to here. But because package is, we have our own package, right? Then copy this code. Remove this one. Here we have the employee object. So this employee object package is, just import this one. This is our own employee entity. Now repository creation is also completed. Then what is the next step? Now we need to create the service for this. Okay, for service we are going to create the one more package service. Create the package. I mean the package separation is required. Actually this is a simple project, that's why we are having the one or two classes. But if you go to the real-time project, you will have the multiple tables, multiple repositories, and multiple service classes. So that's why tables will be existing on the model package, repositories will existing on the repository package. The separation need to definitely, we need to make the separation, then only the code will be more readable and maintainable. Okay, I'm going to create the package. The package is this is the base package. After the base package you have to add your package name. Okay, I created this one more package. Then it is giving the service. What is the service? Employee service. Just copy the employee service, create the class, new class, employee service. I think it is created in the wrong place. Let me delete it, this one. It should be created on the SRC package. So I'm going to create the service package, right? Just copy the base package name, copy the base package, then right click, new package. Here, sorry, it's not copied properly. right click, new package registration dot. So what is our service name? I mean the package name, service, right? So we are following our own package names. Finish. Then create the service class. What is the service class? It is provided employee service. Create, right click, new class service. Okay, employee service. Then copy the remaining all code. Expect the package name. I'm going to copy this code. Then paste here. Okay, so this is the these two existing in the different package, that's why we are getting the error. Then employee registration and employee. Okay, now employee service is also ready. It is not required, we'll explain that. Okay, now service step is also complete. So we'll walk through the code once we copy paste the everything. The next fourth one is need to create the controller. For controller we need to take the another package. Okay, right click, new package. So just copy the base package name first. What is the base package? Com employee registration. Right click, new package, base package name. Then after, what is the this package? Controller package. Then okay, this is it is also created in wrong place. Just delete this one. The package should be created in the SRC, not in the another package. Okay, select the SRC, then click the package, select this one and finish this. Why it is creating in under this one? I didn't understand. Okay, now right click, new package. Okay, so it is the source folder src main java. Okay, then finish it. Now it is cleared properly. Then after, copy the class name. What is the class name? Employee controller. Then right click this, new class employee controller. After creating the class, what you have to do? We need to copy the entire code in the controller, which is provided by the ChatGPT. Okay, now paste here. Okay, we need to import the auto annotation, employee service, which is created previously, and employee model, which is created previously. So then service is also completed. So now fourth step is also completed. Then what is the fifth step? Fifth step is we need to configure the application.properties file. But here it is using the H2 configurations. But what we are using? Postgres. In our case, we are going to use the Postgres, right? Now we need to ask the ChatGPT, give the Postgres related configuration. Then ask, give me the Postgres It's Postgres, Grace SQL. Okay, Postgres SQL. It's asking Postgres SQL configuration. We are asking the Postgres SQL configurations. If you are using the Postgres SQL configuration, so this is the Postgres SQL related configuration. I'm going to paste this in the application.properties file. Okay. This is not required to us. So everything is clear, right? So now we are using the Postgres. That's why we are asking to give the Postgres SQL dependencies. That's why it's provided the Postgres related data. Now we need to change this. So now this is a local host. This is a port, the application running port. Okay, this is the database name we need to provide, and this is a username and password we need to provide. So these are the details we need to create in our end. Okay, this is the driver dilate. So which dilate we are using? Postgres SQL dilate. So if you open the builder Gradle, if you see, so this is the starter dependency of the Spring Boot. This is the web. So why we are going to use the web dependencies? We are going to expose the REST calls. That's why we are going to use the web dependencies. So what is the use of the data JPA? Data JPA is going to use, if you are interacting with the database, definitely you have to use the database dependencies. Then now we are connecting the database. Based on the database, we are going to have the different type of the drivers. So in our case, we are going to use Postgres driver. Okay, we need to use the Postgres driver. If it is Oracle, we need to use the Oracle driver. In our case, we need to use the Postgres driver. We need to ask to ChatGPT, give me the Postgres SQL driver. See, this is the Postgres SQL driver. This driver we need to add. So based on your database, you need to choose the respective driver. Okay. Now after adding this dependency, you can refresh this. You can see in the console, so the Postgres SQL driver is downloading from the internet once you refresh the project. Now dependencies are fine, but coming to the application.properties file, if you see application is I have the database installed in my system. So that's why it is the IP is localhost and port is 54321 and database. Database means we need to create our own database. Create database. I'm going to create the test as a database. Okay, what is my database name? My database name is test. So what is the username and password? While you are installing the Postgres SQL in your system, you are going to give one username and password. That one we need to use here. In my case, Postgres username is Postgres and password is also Postgres. So auto DDL show SQL, I will explain you what is the use of this one. Hibernate dialect, we are using the Postgres SQL. That's why we are going to use the Postgres SQL dialect. Then everything is completed, right? Now run the application. Right click, run as Spring Boot app. Application is started. If you see, it is only Hikari pool started. That means it is try to connect the database, but database is rejecting the connection. Why it is rejecting the connection? Maybe I provide the wrong details. Due to that one, it is rejecting the connection refuse 4432. So actually maybe there may be a chance of my database application, I mean database is running on the 5433. I didn't remember exactly, but it may be chance it is running on the 5433. That's why we are able to see the connection refusal. Authentication is failure. So now we are clear. My previously I mentioned the 5432, but my originally it is running on the. So yes, I forgot my password. Actually, my password is Shiva at the rate 123. Okay, now let me run this. You can see the table is created. Table is created, and the application running on the 8080 port. Now we can check our database. In the database, go to the schemas. Here we have the tables. This is our table, employee table only, right? So just view this table. So this is a table: ID, department, email, name, phone number, position. Okay. So see guys, now we didn't write anything our own. Okay. We created our concept, right? This is our concept. We created our concept, our requirement. Okay. We mention our requirement in the what. Then after we ask ChatGPT to give me the code for the Spring Boot. See how beautiful it is. It is giving the entire code to us. We no need to worry about how to write the code or how to develop. You need to focus on only two things: how to, what is the requirement, and how to utilize the code which is provided by the ChatGPT. If you want to get minimum knowledge on this one, at least you need to have the basic knowledge on the concepts. I'm not saying you need to have the 100% knowledge on the Java or Spring Boot Java technology. If you have the basic knowledge on the all concepts, if you want to utilize, definitely you should know, right? At least you need to have the basic knowledge on the all the concept, and you have idea about how to utilize this code which is provided by the ChatGPT. Okay. Now let me walk through the code once. Now our intention is we need to provide the four APIs race. One is the post API. The purpose is it is for the registration purpose. Next one is a get. This is a get employees. The purpose of this one is to show the all the employee information. The third one is based on the ID, employee ID, we are going to give the information. This one is we are going to update the employee information. Then this is the API we are going to provide outside to delete the employee. Okay, now we'll understand one by one. Okay, package wise I will discuss what is the code. Okay, this is the main class. So if you take a Spring Boot application, we are going to have the main class. How can you say this is the main class? If you have the at the Spring Boot application as a annotation, then only we can say this is the main class. Then we created the model. Model means entity. Entity means it is the representation of the table in the database. So why it is required? So if you are taking the information from the someone, definitely you need to store that respective information in the database, right? So if you want to store the information in the database data will be stored in the form of the table. In case of the Spring Boot application, entity is going to be the representation or representational view of the table. Okay. If you want to prepare one entity, first you need to create the class, then you are going to create the respective fields. Okay. After that, you need to annotate with @entity. @entity will make our normal Java class as a entity. Okay. Now this is the @id. This is a primary key for the respect. I mean, in database we are going to have the multiple records. Every record it should have one unique identifier. So to provide that uniqueness, we are going to use the @id. So this is a @generate value. How you want to generate that value? It is like sequence or your own sequence or identity, like that we have the number of constants. Based on that, the value will be generated. Then next, now our table representation is created, right? Model. Then after, we need to perform some of the operation in the table to perform, to save the operations and to get the operations. In this case, in Spring Boot you need to create the repository. For repository, we have the some of the existing default repositories which are provided the Spring Boot in Spring Data JPA dependency. In what are the one of the existing JPA repository? It is the JPA repository. So we have to create our own repository. Just create the interface and inherit the JPA repository and annotate with @repository. So once your interface is entered with @repository, and if you inherit the one of the futures, one of the existing repository, then it is going to be become as a repository for the your table. Okay, if you want to perform any operation on the respective table, you have to write the queries here. Here we can able to write the JPA queries. I mean, JPA queries, it has some different patterns, and you can write the one native queries also. Okay, this is the purpose of the repository. Then our model and repository is ready. That means our table representation is created in the table, same view we have in the application. Then after, we have a way to perform the operation on the table by using the repository. Now we need to create the service. So this is the service we created. So once if you want to make our Java class as a Spring Bean, then we need to annotate this one as a @service. Here I'm going to use the repository. Here, first method is register employee. So whatever the information we are going to receive from the outside, we are going to store in the database by using the employee repository. Okay. So this is the one of the default method existing on the JPA repository. By using this method, we can able to save the information in the database. Then we have the find all method. So it will retrieve all the information from the database. Find by ID. This is also one of the existing method only. So here we are going to fetch the employee by ID, primary key. Then update the employee information. So first we are going to give the primary key of the employee, I mean employee ID. Then after, we are going to provide the updated information. We are going to set it, and we are going to pass the again save method. The save method will work in both cases. So if you want to save the fresh record also, you are going to use the save method. And at the same time, if you want to perform the update operation, in this case also, you are going to use the save operation only. But the internally, it will check whether the record contains the primary key or not. If it not contains the primary key, it will create the new record and it will generate the new primary key. If it is already contains the primary key, then it will update the existing data. So delete employee deletion by ID. So this is also one of the existing method in the Spring Data JPA. So this is the basic requirement. That's why we are using the default methods of the JPA. Now everything is ready, but no one able to access this code. If you want to provide access to this code, you need to create the controller for this. This is a controller. So at the REST controller, it will make our controller class as a controller. That means if you anybody want to interact my my APIs, definitely they should interact with the controller only. They can able to interact with the controller only. So here simply what we have to do, we are going to expose. Post is save purpose, get is get purpose, get the information, put is for update purpose, delete is delete purpose. Okay, this is the post. Okay, they are going to call this API to save the information. This is get. User will call this API to get the information. On this one, based on the employee ID, they can able to get the information. This is for update. This is for delete. You can see now we didn't write single line of code, line of the code, but whatever the code we have provided by ChatGPT, same thing we are using here, right? You understand it? But you should have the basic idea how to use it. That's it. Now we are going to test this API by using the Postman. Maybe I don't have Postman in my system. Let me install it. I'm going to download this. This Postman is downloaded. Now we have to install this one. I'm going to close all the tabs. Delete this information. This is not required. Okay, I'm going to take the new one, new HTTP. Then here, which one we are going to test now? We are going to test the first API. What is the method type? Method type is the post. Post. Okay. HTTP IP. So what is the IP we are going to mention? So the application is running on my system, right? Local system. That's why I'm going to mention local host. On the port, application running on the which port? At the end you can find 8080. It is running under the 8080 port. Then after, what is the path? The path we are going to, once you give the hit, it is going to reach the controller. Okay, what is our controller? Our controller is employee controller. This is our controller. What is the path? So the path is employees, the controller path. This is the controller path. Sorry, it's pasted double time. Okay, employee. Then we don't have any path this for this method. That means not required. Employees controller, we have the only one post method. That's why path is not required. If we have the multiple post methods, then you need to mention the path. Then what is the input? The input, it is going to expect the JSON of the employee information. So here it already provide the employee information. Just copy this one. See how simple it is. Even it is providing the test data also. Run the application and example to request. This is a request. First one is the post request. This is the path, employee path. Then after it is going to provide the information. Then give it, send the request. Then you can able to see the query. So it is inserting the data into the table. So why the query is written here? So if you want to understand why the query is, we are able to see in the console. Why? Because here you can able to see we mention this property as SQL is true. Once you mention this property as SQL true, then only you can able to see that the executed scripts SQL queries in the console. If you make this one as a false, see if you make this one as a false, I make the false and I'm going to run the application once again. Okay, I'm going to give the hit once again. It's John 1 1. What is the exception we are getting? Duplicate primary keys. Maybe we are giving the same data, that's why we are getting this problem. Same data is not available. So second record is created. Then you cannot able to see anything here. Why? Because we made the property as false. That's why you are not able to see anything. Let's make again true. Okay. I'm going to stop the application and I'm going to run once again. Okay. Meanwhile, we can check the data in the database. You can see the data. You can able to find the two records of the users. Just now we initiated. Okay. Now we have one more request. What is the request we have? Now we need to see the employees information. Right. So first we'll see the all employee information. So this is get method only. So do you have any path for that? Get all information, go to the controller. This is a controller path. This control, we are going to interact with this controller, and this we are going to have the get method. We have the two get methods, but this get method in the path itself, it is going to expect the ID. Okay, that's why without the path also it is possible. We have the difference between these two methods. Okay, now give the hit. See, we got the output. That means in the database we have the two records. We are able to pull the two records. Then I want to see only one record based on the ID one. I'm able to see the record one information. Okay. Now I want to delete this one. Now delete it. Delete method. Send the delete. So actually delete method expecting the value in the path variable only. Okay, it is delete. Yeah, not content. That means the record is deleted. Now you can refresh it. You can see, you can find only one record. Okay, why? Because we perform the delete method. Okay, whatever the code it is provided with ChatGPT is 100% correct, right? I mean, not 100%, somewhat 90% is correct. In our end, we need to make sure that, so that is useful to our requirement or not, we need to identify and we need to utilize the respective code. Okay, this is the way we are going to use ChatGPT to create the Spring Boot operations. Okay, I hope you guys like this workshop. In the next week we are going to come with how to create the Angular integration code with the help of the ChatGPT. Just now we created this employee registration system, right? By using this employee registration system, what we provided? We provided the backend APIs, but we need to provide the UI for this also, right? So the same integration we are going to do in the next workshop. I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe my channel.